Hello, it's Claire from Angelic Scallywags, and today I'm going to give you 5 ways to build enthusiasm for a new unit study. The single most important thing that we've ever done is to create an adventure box, and I've talked about this before, and I'm going to leave a link up there, or possibly up there, I'm not sure which side it goes, so that you can have a look at that. But in this instance, they're great for building enthusiasm for a new unit study, because they can watch it being built up over the weeks towards the unit study. They can maybe make suggestions of things to go into the adventure box, and they can also see, I create these little luggage labels and destination labels which we pop onto the suitcase, which is our adventure box because we're going on a journey, and so they have a hint of where we're going next and where we're traveling to next, and that really builds excitement in them. And within the adventure box, we include lots of toys, lots of things like Playmobil. You know, often Playmobil have actual cultural figures that you can use, which are fantastic. And if not, you can use the other ones, the plain ones, and dress them up and create your own imaginary world. We also include art supplies, dressing up, all sorts of activity-based learning that they can do, as well as books and videos and things like that. So this is the single most important thing I think that you can do to create real excitement for the unit study ahead. The next thing that we do is to create a junk box or junk drawer, or wherever you want to put your junk. This is free, which is really, really helpful for your homeschool budget. But it also, funnily enough, creates quite a lot of excitement, because the children can just see all these packaging, and they envisage them in a completely different way when they're there for them to play in whatever way that they want to. And I include, because I collect it for weeks, you know, for weeks beforehand, it means that they get quite a variety of stuff. It's not just the same old Amazon packages, but like stock cube boxes, which are tiny little things, and packaging like plastic packaging, and gift bags, and brown paper, and cards that we might have. I also pop in, I often go to library sales and we'll get, you know, possibly sometimes more than one copy of a book. And that has, if that book is, for example, I don't know, I'm doing Mesopotamia at the moment, if that book is a double up of a Mesopotamia book, it often has lots and lots of pictures and quotes and things like that that they can use, and drawings that they can use in their project-based learning or throughout the actual unit study. And I pop that into the junk box, which for them indicates that they can cut it up, they can do whatever they want with it, basically. And so that's a really good way of creating excitement for the unit study ahead. The third way I create excitement for a cultural unit study is by offering lots of different dressing up options. So I might buy a costume of some sort, and let's face it, who doesn't like a new outfit? And the children are no different, and they love getting new dressing up outfits. But actually, I think probably my most successful ones are the ones that I've made myself, and I've made over a period of time, and the children have seen them hanging up, and they've watched it develop into, you know, from something that's really quite bland to something that's quite special. And mum has made it, which is kind of nice for them as well. I also include lots and lots of accessories or materials to make accessories, things like foil. You can get all sorts of different kinds of metal foil, and they are fantastic for making brooches, belts, jewellery of all sorts. I also include lots of felt, because felt can be really made into anything, because it doesn't need to be hemmed or anything like that. You can just cut it up into whatever you want to cut it up into. Use a hot glue gun, and it's a really, really easy way to make, you know, quite effective looking dressing up. And actually we did this for a Mesopotamia study years ago, and I'll probably leave you a picture. I might leave some pictures actually of everything I'm talking about. We'll see. But dressing up is for us a really key thing to create and to include in the days running up to a unit study. The fourth way that we like to encourage excitement in our unit studies in our school is to ask relatives, particularly daddy, but also granny. My mum lives next door, which is such a blessing. I've alluded to the fact that we get the butcher down the road involved, and you know, friends get involved as well. Bringing other people into the unit study makes for a much more interesting and diverse experience, and particularly daddy, who doesn't tend to be so involved in their homeschool. Asking him to create, oh, I don't know, during the Edwardians, he made a radio from scratch with them. He has taken them on field trips. He's come with us on field trips, and just having him there makes everything so much more fun. My mum is very involved and does lots of reading with the children, and she will often come over. So throughout a unit study, we do a big presentation at the end of the unit study, but also we enjoy doing mini presentations throughout the 6 weeks, which allows the children to be able to explain what they've learned and just show off their work a little bit, so that it becomes a bit more meaningful. To be able to share it is a really important aspect of schoolwork. Oh, and Gary often reads to them at bedtime. Throughout their growing up years, that he would have been the one that read to them before bed, and we would get an awful lot of our school reading done then. Fiction to do with the cultures that we're studying, and that was an excellent addition. And also the children just loved listening to their dad. I mean, Northern Ireland accent is just gorgeous, and he would just read away, and you know, I'm not sure if he would fall asleep before the children. Sometimes I think he probably did, but it was just a lovely routine that he had got into, and that was such a blessing for our homeschool. And it definitely encourages more enthusiasm for a unit study to have other people involved. The very last way that we encourage enthusiasm and excitement and build that anticipation for a new study is to begin talking about project-based learning. I haven't talked too much about project-based learning, but it's an enormous part of our schoolwork, and it allows the children to pursue areas within the study of what interests them the most. And in fact, most of our afternoons are spent doing project-based learning, especially when the children are a bit younger. So before the unit study begins, I will just start prodding the children as to what they might be interested in learning, whether there's a new skill that they want to learn, whether there's a particular area that they want to delve into a bit deeper than we would be able to go into in our sort of just our normal unit study. Whether there's like, for example, Charlotte absolutely loves anything literature based, so she would often delve a bit deeper into the literature of the times that we're studying, which the other children would be less interested in. And so it gave her an opportunity to really learn much deeper and much more thoroughly in the area that she wants to go into. And now she's an adult, she writes books for a living and poetry for a living, and all of those project-based learning built up tools that she was then able to apply to her future. Lily, in contrast, is very artistic and would always choose an art-based project or a skill-based project. So she would learn to work with, I remember once she learned to work with silver rock and gold rock, gold clay, and create jewellery of the time, which was really interesting to watch her teach herself, which project-based learning is a fantastic way. It's a fantastic addition to any unit study and is definitely something that children look forward to and exploring in their own time with their own skill without any pressure put on them at all for any end product. It's their own work completely, and this definitely builds enthusiasm for each culture. Well, there you go. That's 5 ways to encourage excitement and anticipation for the unit study ahead. I hope that's helpful to you. Next week, I might be touching upon our morning meetings, which we have every morning for an hour, or we'll be going back to the halaf culture and I'll be doing a bit more clay work. Until then, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please like and subscribe so you don't miss any more. Thank you. Bye-bye.